Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon. This is the 12th session, the final session for our Primo V Become an Expert series. It is Thursday, December 16th, 10 o'clock Eastern in the morning. In the Eastern time zone in North America. And so our topic today is Primo Analytics. This is the same tool used for Alma Analytics, but what we deliver is just a little bit different with Primo, and I'll be highlighting some other things, but a lot of the same rules apply because we're using the same tool under the hood. So my name is Jenny Draeger. I'm a training services consultant. We also, Lori LaRoe is on the line from support, and she is keeping an eye on your questions that you may submit via chat, and please send them to all panelists so we both can see them. So we're going to talk about what, Primo Analytics, just the basics. We're going to talk about dashboards and reports. Creating your own analysis, reports, dashboards, etc. And then scheduling analytics. So our first topic here is Primo Analytics. And so what is Primo Analytics? A tool that allows us to build, customize, run reports on Primo activities, what your users are doing out in your public interface. And the tool we use is OAS, or Oracle Analytics Server. So that is where your data, gets dropped to where we go ahead and do those reports. Remember, there are the same two roles that govern Alma Analytics that govern Primo Analytics. Designs Analytics, that allows you to get into the Designs Analytics menu option under the Analytics menu here on the main Alma menu. And then Analytics Administrator enables configuring analytics and exposing analytics to other staff operators, and that one you stay in Alma. Let me get back here a bit. Let me jump into Alma. Now, Alma times out after an hour. That is a default value that you can't change. Analytics does the same thing. So Analytics used to have a shorter timeout, and we have them both set to 60 minutes. So what I'm doing, I'm just doing a quick search to make sure that Alma is active and that it's not going to time out. I've had it open a little while, and I don't want it to time out during our session. So if I look at analytics, remember this time and date stamp down here at the bottom of the analytics menu. Every night, your data is pulled from Alma and Primo V, and it goes through the process ETL, extract, transform, and load. So it is pulled at 1900 hours, and then it goes through that process, the transformation and load process, and then it's loaded onto Oracle Analytics Server. And so I've seen in this environment, it's a consistent pull of the data, but when it's available, changes a little bit by, a few minutes here and there. So it looks like it's loaded at, 11, 12, 51 last night. But so remember that any information in analytics is yesterday's data because it gets pulled every night. It goes through the ETL process, and then it gets put onto Oracle Analytics Server. So if you're running some reports, it's never going to have today's information, today's activities in analytics. And another thing to remember is if you are running a report, sending, letters, sending reports, notices, whatever, anything out of Alma Analytics, schedule them in the morning, like 6 or 7 in the morning, instead of at 10 at night, because 10 at night, if you do that later at night, it's going to be data from 2 days ago. where if it's one of those early mornings, that'll be after the fresh load of data has been put in there. And whatever you're sending out of analytics will be the most recent information available. So the design analytics, design data visualization, that's for Alma. And then here's design analytics for Primo, data visualization for Primo. So we're going to go into design analytics right here for Primo. Okay, you could see we're on the Oracle Analytics platform here. And let's take a look at this global header up here. Now there's a default screen that you'll come to when you log in, and right now it's set to be this catalog screen. It could be other screens, and I'm going to show you how to adjust that if your preference, whatever your preference is to get in there. How I get in here, just to remind you, under analytics, the analytics menu here in the analytics screen, you'll see Design Analytics Primo. That is how I got into Oracle Analytics Server. So let's look at this header up here. Well, while we're in catalog, we'll take a look. If you've done Alma Analytics, this should look a little familiar to you. We have two folders here. We have my folders and shared folders. And so my folders, anything in here is to my individual login. And then the shared folders, there's the Primo folder, and those are the dashboards, reports, etc. that Ex Libris puts in place that you can use, you can utilize, you can copy, borrow, edit. You'll also see a Primo community folder. So again, dashboards, prompts, reports that individual customers have chosen to share their reports. And you can always borrow theirs. You're only borrowing their structure, though. You're not borrowing their, it'll always show your data, even with their structure. Okay, so no exposing your data, no seeing anyone else's data. Now, in your environments, you have one more folder, and it has your institution name. We discovered in October that when this environment was provisioned, that got skipped. This is an internal database. So, and we're getting it re-provisioned after we tidy up this series. We didn't want to have that done in the middle of it. So in your environment, under shared folders, you'll have one more folder with your institution name. And that is where, after you've written, updated, edited, any reports, dashboards, etc., you can put them out in that shared folder, and then your colleagues can see them, act on them. They'll be available to anyone in your institution that can log into Primo Analytics. Okay, so let's go back to our header here. We have the home screen, and you can see places where I've been, different reports, dashboards, etc., that I've been looking at is up here in the recent. As activity happens, you'll have some other places people have been, and then most popular. As usage kind of increases, this will be populated by the system. And then we have some actions up here under this little create header, which mimics what's available in this create header. Some of it, not all of it, but some of it. You could set favorites, favorite reports, favorite dashboards that you would like to have bookmarked, easily accessible right here under this favorites menu. You can have dashboards. And so out of the box, we have this example dashboard and trends dashboard, and those are the ones from us. And then you can see these other ones from the Primo community. And we're going to be spending some time in here a little bit later. Under our create, if I want to create a new analysis, create a new dashboard, we've got filters, actions. Will be in here a little bit later. And then under open, provide shortcuts to the recent and most popular activity, which you see here on the home screen. So a little bit of overlap between the home screen and some of these menus. Now, I also want to point out, if you click on your icon up here and go into like this little person, I guess, and click on my account, you can have a few settings here. What's that starting page? Do you like it to be catalog? Do you like it to be default? Would you prefer one of these other items? I'm going to just leave mine default. You can set your location, set your language, set your time zone. And so those are where, so you could set those for yourself if you like. Not required. If I go in here to catalog, I also want to point out another option. You can search. Remember how in all the analytics, you can also search. You can search reports that other people have made. You can search reports, dashboards, etc. that Ex Libris has made. And so that's under this little spyglass. Then if you want to return back to that folders menu, these are the two icons here, the folder icon and then the spyglass icon. Very handy. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint and we're going to talk about dashboards and reports. So what's a dashboard? It's a personalized view of information. It can consist of one or more pages or tabs. We're going to see that. It can include reports, graphs, prompts, objects, and can be shared with other users. So a dashboard is generally, it can only be one report, but generally it's more than one layered in there. And then report, so those are the responses that return after executing a query. They can be formatted, they're presented on a dashboard page, saved, shared with other users. So you first build the reports, and you might, add the graphs, etc. to them, change the headings, do all that work, and then you put them on dashboards for display. So we're going to go back here into Oracle Analytics Server. And under dashboards, we have our example dashboard. So this is delivered to you out of the box. And so here you can see the different tabs or pages, a whole series of them up here. And then the individual reports down below. So here's the example dashboard. We also have the trends dashboard, which it's fewer reports. Some of them are overlap between usage and popular searches. But you could start with these, create your own, change these around to be more to your liking for your institution. Let's go back to the example dashboard. So here we're going to look at our actions header. And then our first report here is called Search Actions. Now on the left, we have our graphs. And up here, we can choose actions, the number of actions per month, the number of sessions in which actions were invoked, and the number of times an action was invoked when a user was signed in. So right now, this is the graphs here. They're set to actions. If I change it to sessions, numbers are going to change a little bit. and then signed in, change a little bit more. And then as you change the option here on the left, the data over on the right changes as well. Are you talking about counts or percentage? I've seen this. I don't know where this is coming from, and I didn't dig in there. I think I have to go look at that. I don't know where that one's coming from. I see someone just asked that question. I need to follow up. And I'm going to wait until since we're getting this re-provisioned, I'm going to wait to see if it shows up once we get that done over after we're done here. Okay, so as you see on the left, we have our little graph. Over here on the right, we've got our table. Our second report here, result list actions. So that's a monthly report of actions taken by end users related to search results. Are they sorting by date? Are they looking at previous page? Are they using fast search filtering? Are they expanding their search to go beyond the CDI, the subscribed content? Changing number of results per page, removing facet filtering, going to the next page, unchecking expand CDI results, and then looking at controlled vocabulary. The third report here, document level actions. That's a monthly report of actions taken by end users related to the document at the resource level. And then again, the different options here, which you can see, sometimes they get cut off because it's a little crowded here with all the options. You can see them all right here as well. Using the different citations, deleting tags, clicking on a permalink, removing from an eShelf. Then you can always change that between that count and percentage on the right. Under general actions, what's that? It's a monthly report of actions taken by end users related to general actions like signing in, signing out, clicking on those main menu links up at the header, up at the top header. Changing those personalized results. Remember that option we had in there as well? So you could see a lot of variety popped up when this series started, September, October, November, it went down a little bit. So exploration actions, that's another report we've written for you. Actions taken by end users related to citations, the resource recommender, BX, Leganto collections, etc. So here's our options. So that is our actions set of reports under the actions tab here on the example dashboard. So under devices, this is where you can see what your users are using to access your Primo. Now, this is an internal Primo that my team uses. And you can see we're pretty consistently Chrome users. And we're all using our Ex Libris provided computer. So we don't have a lot of variety here. But in your environment, you'll probably see a little more variety. I don't come onto this Primo from my personal Mac computer, so clicking on these isn't going to change much, but you should definitely see a little more variety in your environment. Remember how I got here is under dashboards. I went to this under Primo example dashboard. That's how I got to this out of the box dashboard, if you will. So facets, let's look at how our facets have been used. So this will give you month by month, number of times a specific facet was used, might inform you that some facets aren't being used very much. Maybe you'll get rid of some, completely up to you. So whatever the user experience says. So how many times were the facets used per month? So in sessions or just facets selected, those are our options here. Did they use, so here's the collection facet, the date slider facet, the journal facet, library facet, resource type, top level, topic. You can see how they've changed. And then toggle again between count and percentage. So on sessions, this is the monthly report of sessions divided by the location of the user. Remember, this is a testing environment, but we do share this environment with some of our colleagues around the world. So we can see the number of sessions and then where we're coming from. So our friends in Canada have been utilizing this. Even more than us. Even more than my team. Now, popular searches. Let's take a look at this. So we don't know who did this. We don't know who did these searches, but we can see what has been searched. Take a look at what's being searched. Are there resources? This might help you determine maybe we need to set up a resource recommender. Maybe you want to set up remember how we had those different options to have the little like reference entries, all that kind of stuff at the top of your results. Might also tell you if there's more information or how users are actually using your environment. Are they putting things like library hours in here? And then on the right, and I think this is actually also for the current year. I just need to, because I need to change the header here in this exact report. But I'd have to go double check the report and see what the time limit is on it, if it is going back that far or not. I think it's just for the current calendar year though. But that would just be updating a header, unlike that other timestamp we saw a little bit. Another helpful report are your zero searches, zero result searches. What the search string was, the field that was searched, the search scope used, search scope type, and where was the user logged in or not. Again, broken down by month. You can tell it's me in here. So this might also help, understand where people are coming, what they're doing in your environment as well. Now, these last two options in this example dashboard do not apply to Primo V. They apply only to Primo with the back office. So we don't have pipes. And so these two, if you're on Primo V, like my environment, you won't get anything under those two. Okay, so that's that example dashboard and the stuff we give you out of the box. Okay, let's go to, we're going to create our own analysis and add it to my dashboard, and then we're going to edit it. So we're going to do a few things here. I'm going to go back to my catalog tab. And I'm going to navigate under shared. Remember in the Primo, if you're in Primo Analytics, you're going to see, you know, Primo Community. So if we're in here, we're going to go into Primo because this is going to come from Ex Libris. We're going to go under dashboards. We're going to look at the example dashboards. So this is exactly what we were looking at and how it was created, how we delivered it to you. Under facets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the facets report or dashboard, if you will. And then I'm going to bring it up here into under my folders, under my dashboard, and I'm going to paste it. So I just took it from out here and I pasted it to my folders because I'm going to make some changes to it. Okay, so now let's add a text description to the dashboard. So I'm going to open this dashboard. Actually, I want to come in here and edit it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this little gear. You see that little gear? And then you have the option to edit the dashboard. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to create a header for it, add some text to the very top of the dashboard. So I'm going to grab this text object over here and drag it in. No, I don't want it there. I want it up here. There we go. So I grabbed my text and I put it up here high. And I'm going to, if I click on this little XYZ, that link takes me into properties where I can edit it. Get bold. Oop. I don't want to just do that bold though. I want to do the whole thing. Boom, bold, get a little preview. See the little hashtags or the little code things are at the beginning and end. If I click OK. Now this is another nice little tool. See how I can click preview? So I made that change. I haven't saved it yet, but I made the change. You can see my data and then I can just close that. So since I've made a change, I can hit save. I can hit save as. I'm going to hit save right now. And it let me do it. And it let me do it because I'm using this, or I'm accessing this report out of the My folders. I'm not accessing it out of the Primo folder. So if you ever aren't able to save, it's because you can't overwrite what we have delivered in the Primo folder or in the Primo community folder. You can't overwrite what another customer has submitted in that folder. So you just need to do a save as, and then either save it in your My folder, your individual folder, or your institutions folder under shared folders. Okay, let's go back here. I want to get back into here. Catalog, open. So now we have our header. That's been saved. That's how it's coming up when we open this now. So now what we're going to do, we're going to edit the we're going to edit the dashboard again. We're back in here. And this facet usage example, I'm going to edit the analysis here. I'm not just, adding some text or anything. I'm editing the analysis. And what we're going to do is we're going to change around this graph. So how are we going to do that? We're going to click this Nope, not that one. Cancel. There we go. Click on the little pencil for editing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take facet type and make that the horizontal axis. Right now, month is, but we want to highlight the facet type more. So I'm dragging it up, and I had a little blue bar up there as I was dragging it up. And now I'm going to move months to the vary by color. And sometimes dragging these around can get a little tricky. Took me a little practice. So now we've changed. See how now instead of month, we are seeing each facet, and then the months are represented in colors. So let's also change this graph from stacked vertical. We're going to change this to stacked horizontal. It's going to give us a little different view. You can see that resource type facet is really popular. And so we can always revert. If you're working on this and you say, oh, I don't really like that, you could just go back and click revert. Take it back to where you were. But since we like it, I'm clicking done. I like that update. And now look at how, if I try to save the analysis, it won't let me. So I'm going to do this save as. And I'll leave it called facet usage example. See how it's down here in this Primo folder. So I'm going to put this up in my folders, and I'm going to save it right there. Facet usage. Let me do this. I think I left my one from yesterday in place. So I renamed it facet usage 1216. There's our updated report. Looks good. It's saved. And if I come back to catalog, I can see here's my dashboard where that original facet dashboard is. And then here's my facet usage that I report that I just created. I just edited it, and created it, edited it, and saved it right here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to utilize this new report I just created and put it in place on my dashboard. So we're going to edit our dashboard. And we have that original facet usage example in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come under my folders. I'm going to take this new one. I want it below here. Let's do a preview. So we see our title that we made. We've got this odd date with the data updated as. Here's our original report, the original facet. And then here's the second one that we just edited. Now over here, it's the same numbers because it's the same data. It's just the presentation of it. I dragged it into place here. If I'm happy, go ahead and hit save. If I run it, here's that output. So that was working with an out-of-the-box report, editing it, making some changes to that data output. So now we're going to create a new analysis from scratch. So if you've done all the analytics, it's very similar. I'm going to create a new analysis, a new report. And I want to use the subject area Primo action usage. Now, if you like searching, or if you just like, drop downs and navigations, we could do that too. Remember, these are the measures. So Alma's doing Alma under the hood, or Oracle Business Intelligence under the hood is doing a calculation for you. So the first thing I want here are dates by month. Under actions, I want this measure of actions taken. And then I also want to know what Primo view people were using. So the month of usage, actions that were taken, and Primo, and which view they were in my Primo environment. If I click here on results, you can toggle back and forth, pull the data over, pull a little bit over, look at results, go back to criteria, maybe pull another piece of data over. With all analytics, you have to be very careful about asking the right question. Okay. So if we say, okay, I like this, but I don't really like how it's grouped, I can drag the Primo view over here. And so now I can see, here we go, September, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 different views used. November, 3 different views. Some of them are a little more streamlined. So we've created our new analysis. Let's say we want to add a graph to this as well. So this is the icon right here. And if you hover over it, I think it says new view. And let's add a graph. What kind of graph? Let's do a pie graph. So there we go. December, not very exciting here. Let's go. I think November had some variety. Not a ton. Not a ton. And I think September had some also. So we've got our graph. Let's move it. See how I'm kind of hovering over where I want it? I don't want it. There we go. I didn't want the header to be on top of I wanted the header to remain on top of the graph, so I had to drag it just a little bit lower to the left. So right now this environment was provisioned a year ago, last December. Maybe I want to tighten that date up a little bit, or as this gets older, it's going to have more and more data. So let me go back to the criteria tab. Let's add a filter. Greater than. Greater than the 31st of December 2020. Okay. So now that'll take off that December. It'll just show, 2021's information. December's gone now. December of last year. So if I go to save this analysis, Alma's going to say, where do you want this saved? And I'm going to put it in my folders. Give it a name. And click OK. So naming it, put that title right up here in my little header. So we created one from scratch, we saved it. Now in actuality, remember, if I were wanting to share this, email this out, I would want to save this in my institution shared folder. But I don't have that in my environment. So this next step, talking about scheduling analytics and Primo V, sharing analytics with other people, mailing them to, sending them out. The reports, the dashboards, et cetera, do need to be in that shared folder for your institution. So I'm going to go back to Alma under analytics. Now, analytics objects list up here, design analytics. This is for Alma. Design analytics Primo was for Primo. So there is a differentiator up here. But for the analytics objects list, everything for Primo and Alma is in the same section here. Now, right now, I don't have any Primo ones because I'm missing that folder, that institution folder. But you can limit it down in your environment. And I will be after ours gets rebuilt. Am I just talking about widgets? Am I talking about dashboards, reports, scheduled dashboards, scheduled reports? Widgets, remember, widgets are what's available for your opening page in Alma. So if I want to add a new analytics object, now since I can't add a Primo one, and I'm going to have an error if I do this, and it's because I don't have that shared folder out here. This is why I'm getting that error. But I do want to show you how to do this. So I'm just going to use an Alma example. Okay. It's the same vehicle. It's just the output is different. But the same tool. So I'm in my Alma folder. So I'm going to go to Training Institute Jenny. So that's my folder out on the Alma Analytics. Let's do count of users by group. Maybe I want to make it a scheduled report. I can put a description here. What do I want the output to be? There might be certain times you do want to send things nice and formatted to maybe people, but sometimes they might need that raw data in Excel, etc. So is this active? Is it scheduled? So this is where when you talk about these, so this can be scheduled on the 2nd of every month at 6 a.m., just delivered, then you don't have to do it again. Every Monday, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 9 a.m. So again, pick a time. Every day, the 2nd of the month, the 2nd of every month. I kind of aim for that 6 a.m. thing. 6 or 7 before so you're sure that the data is in place. But on the 2nd of the month, it would be anyway, because it'd be, you'd be good. And then so when you create a new analytics object, you do need to, identify which report you want or dashboard. You need to set the schedule. Well, this is a scheduled report. If this were a widget, you wouldn't need to do that. And then you have to add the roles. Who should be able to subscribe to this? Maybe I want all of my administrators to be able to see this, and maybe circ desk operators, just for kicks. So what this means is the people that have any user record that has any one of these roles could subscribe to this report. So now that that's created, I can come in here and I can subscribe to analytics. So this is for me. Monthly count of users by group. And I would just enable it. So now that'll come to me once a month. So that is the tool. That's Primo Analytics. Being able to schedule them. Remember, if you've created widgets, that's what appears in this menu. Another change that we've made this year, if you look at analytics, this reports used to be this, I always considered this like a little parking lot of, and the customers could put things in place. And what we've tried to do is put more reports in place here to expose the reports that are created back in analytics. Because you might have people that never want to go into design analytics, or you don't want them in there, but you can post, put these different reports or dashboards right here under reports, and then they can access them without. Now, if I click on this, it's going to open up analytics. But what we did try to do is expose what is available here to Alma users. And you can move these around or add ones that you've created, etc. Now, Rialto is provisioned in my environment, so you might not see that. I've seen a number of questions come in, and Lori's been answering them. Lori, is there anything we need to go back to?
I don't believe so, but I will say there were several questions about very specific examples of what people are seeing in their environment, which don't really have a general answer. So if you're seeing something that you can't explain, just please go ahead and open a case with support so that we can investigate those issues that may be like very specific to your analytics reports.
So definitely double check your environments. Make sure if you go into design analytics for Primo, you do have that institution folder. If I go into my analytics for Alma and I go to my catalog, you'll see how I have one here for training to Inst. So you should see that also under Primo. And I don't know if getting it corrected will, I mean, they're not going to re-provision your entire, I would guess. I don't know. I don't know if getting this corrected will wipe it all out or if they just turn it on. I don't have that answer. Because the question came in, if the provisioning is fixed by support, is it fixed retroactively when running reports on older data or only from the time of the fix? I don't know what the fix is. So this is just kind of an intro to analytics. Next year, you might be interested in that analytics masterclass. Get a little deeper in there. Anything else for us today? I appreciate all your time and energy and everything that you've given me since September. And I look forward to seeing you again in future training. So I hope you're around for it. The recording will be placed on the dashboard for this series. And hold on, I'm grabbing the chat. And I don't want to lose it. Let me post it. And then I'm going to post the link to this series one more time in case you don't have it. Primo B, become an expert. Copy and paste. Oh, not to all panelists. I got to send this to everyone. Go, go, go. There we go. You've got the link now. Have a great holiday. Have a great end of the year. I hope things are settling down in your parts of the world and the libraries are getting a little quieter. And any feedback you have to offer, remember, we're always looking at it and we're planning for next year for new, revisiting our current content and creating new. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Lori, for your help. And we'll see you soon
Thank you.
in the new year.